And this is a story that has a Corpus Christi connection. It goes back to 1968. To all of you who may be listening, who were around in 1968, we know it was an incredible year because in 1968, three NASA astronauts became the first humans to orbit the moon. The Apollo 8 mission also captured the first photograph of Earth from a point of view that forever changed the way we saw ourselves. Did you know that that photo had a Corpus Christi connection?
I had no idea.
We're going to find out what that connection is and why it's so important that we recognize it and that we remember it. The story I didn't know about until I met this gentleman by the name of Ruben Rodriguez. It was his father that played a role. The story, however, is not so much about him, but about his dad. Check this out.
The engines are on. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
December 21st, 1968, an historic day in American history. Apollo 8 would be the last test flight on the Saturn V rocket before man's first landing on the moon.
We have cleared the tower.
Apollo 8 would for the first time circle around the dark side of the moon, a demonstration of lunar trajectory. As Apollo emerged from behind the moon, this was the crew's reaction.
Wow, that's pretty. Hand me a roll of color. Oh, that's a beautiful shot.
A few days later, the Apollo 8 crew returned home safely with the film. Now comes the Corpus Christi connection.
He was born and raised in Mexico. Both my parents were, both our parents. And there was a fascination he had as a kid.
Raul Rodriguez's fascination with photography started when he was a child at Picture Day in Mexico. That continued into adulthood. Eventually, he moved to Texas and became an electrician. But he still dabbled in photography, even building a darkroom and photo studio in his home.
Closets were where he developed the negatives, where they required a total darkness. And eventually, he was doing wedding pictures. He built a large cinder block garage in the back that became the main photo studio.
As business grew, so did the Rodriguez photo business, eventually moving to this building on Air Street, where R&R Photo Studio was established.
He installed the first color processor for South Texas.
At the time, that was a big deal. Word spread of the color technology at R&R in Corpus Christi, eventually making its way to NASA, whose astronauts had just returned from the Apollo 8 mission.
A few days later, a couple of guys showed up from NASA at my dad's studio. Somehow they found out that he had both the Ektachrome and the color photo processing.
Raul Rodriguez was given the job to develop, process, and print the pictures taken by the Apollo 8 crew. And that, his son says, is what he did. Ruben, then 12 years old, even got some say-so in the production.
So he showed me the first one, and I said, the moon looks a little bit tan. And so he said, okay. Well, he went in and adjusted the filters, made it a little more gray, and then he printed the final ones, and the guys from NASA took the negatives, the slides, and the pictures, and paid and took off.
Ruben kept the first copy of the iconic picture his dad printed, and the rest, as we all now know, is history.
Basically, to us, locally, it's the height of achievement of a Hispanic born in Mexico in a poor farm that never knew he would be holding astronaut film in his hand, doing a process that would benefit the world.
How incredible.
Right.
I had no idea.
I didn't either until I talked to
cool.
Ruben, and
like
let me
that.
tell you, that's an incredible story to tell. Great memories, and that picture that he has personally was the first one that his dad printed.
Wow.
So he kept it after all these years. So thank you, Ruben Rodriguez, for sharing the story of your dad. And of course, that is Old Corpus Christi. That is the history of our area and los humildes que empezaron aquí con negocios y disfrutaron para ¿verdad? Compartir con la familia so they can have a better life.
Qué orgullo, ¿verdad?
¿Verdad que sí?
I love it.